Hi everybody, Jim here with SAPBODS.com, and this is the fourth video in a series of videos designed to, in a single day, teach data migration professionals how to use BODS. In the last video, we used the case and merge transforms to tease information out of a single stream of incoming records, transform them individually, and then knit them back together with the merge transform. Additionally, we wrote a custom function that was used to transform the data as it was passing through a data flow. In this episode, we're going to use some SQL code in some transformations, and we're actually going to use the SQL Transform. Let's get right into that. So we're back here in the Data Services Designer, and rather than just keep adding onto this first job, we're going to create a new job to speed up the running of that job. So we're going to start with a new batch job. We're going to call this JOB training, and we're going to jump right into it with a brand new data flow. And this will be data flow get states. Alright, so now we're going to tease out of the minisap server a list of United States, because I want to knit that data into the customer master data that we were playing with in the previous videos. And I'm doing this in a way that I know is going to cause some errors, but I want to walk you through the troubleshooting so that you can pick that up. This is very important. Troubleshooting is a key component of data migration, especially in BODS, so let's just get to that. I don't want to re-import all. Typically in an SAP implementation there are 50,000 tables right out of the box. Let's just pull in the one that we want, T005U. And just like that, it's ready for us. Great. Let's make a transform. And with this, we're just going to filter out the states that are not, or that is the regions that are not in the US. But let's get into that first. So we don't care about the system. We do care about the language. So let's tease these over like that. And here's a pro tip: when you are doing SQL queries, it helps to include the fields as the targets in the outbound schema. So let's go to the from clause, and if you're a SQL programmer, you've been through this a bunch of times. Sorry, I mean the where clause. We'll get to the from clause here in a minute. We're going to say where spross equal e, and let's say land1 equal US, just like that. I like to keep these neat. Great. Let's check to see if there are any issues, and there are not. Alright, and let's make a outbound table. States. And we're going to use the local SQL server for fun. Great. And just like that, we're set. Alright, let's see what happens. I know that this is going to cause an error, but I know this ahead of time because I prepared this lesson and I had encountered this error while I was doing it. Not because I'm particularly clever and I know everything about everything, it's just because I've been through here before. Yes, great. Great. Oh, who knew? Terminated due to error. Let's find out why. Alright, so here's where it pays to be clever when it comes time to troubleshoot. let's actually read through this error and see what it's saying. Error calling RFC function to get the table data, and here's the RFC. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not the RFC, that's actually just an error message. SQL server invalid field name. One of the field names in the select clause was not recognized. So an RFC was called in SAP and it caused an error. So let's find out what that error was. Just jump into ST22, go to today. This last one is likely us. Let's see, the select clause, one of the field names in the select clause was not recognized. That's what BODS told us, same thing. Let's look at the error. The RFC read table function was the one that was called, and the select clause was specified in an internal table at runtime. It contains the field name, and then here in double quotes you can see the field name that it is trying to read, and we know that's not a legitimate field name. Now, my BODS sandbox is 6 years old and my SAP server is even older than that, so I'm not surprised that there are some inconsistencies. So let's just work around this. Let's go back a step or two, and we'll delete this one. We'll make a new transform and we'll call this query, and we'll call it order by, and then we'll use this as an intermediary between SAP and this next query that filters out all but the US states. And this will take all of these over, just like that. And we will order by. Now, if you've been a SQL developer for a long time, you know exactly what this is. We're going to order by the short name of the state, the abbreviated state name. Darn it. Great. Great. Oh, and we will have to fix these because we're coming from query order by and not from SAP's T005U table. And the where will be query order by. Just like that. Oops. All right, let's check and see. No errors. Let's see how this runs. All right, fingers crossed. Great. So now we have a table with just the 50 United States. 56 of them if you include territories, and we will. That's fun. Let's first close this, and now we'll make another data flow. Let's go back here, here. Customer states, and we will link these because it will throw an error if we don't show BODS how to flow from one to the next. If you don't link them, it doesn't know which order to execute these. So now we can go in here and we can pull in our template table as part of the source, and we can pull in a table from another database. And it's one of the neat things about BODS is you can do a SQL query join on tables from different databases. It's actually quite cool. So let's do that. Let's make a transform here. Query join. I'm just calling it that because I'm not feeling very creative. We knit these two together. And then we go in here and we say yes, we'll get all of these. Tease them across. And we'll get, we'll get these. Let's get these two, and we'll map them to the output as well. Great. Then this is neat. If you just want the distinct rows, you can just tick that. It's a fun select thing. You can, again, a little bit of experimentation will get you up to speed if you are an experienced SQL developer. Here in the from, this is going to be a little cumbersome, but again, a little knowledge goes a long way. You can see that you have these two import schemas, and they're both ticked, and that's what we want. And you're going to do a left join from customers to a right join on table states, and it starts knitting together the from clause that it's going to throw into the SQL query, and then you hit this smart editor. It's really clever. Now sometimes when you go into the smart editor, it'll be way over here. You might see something like this. Just scroll back until you get to here. So you say table customers region equals bland, just like that. And as easy as it seems, it's done. It's that easy. Great. So now we're going to make another destination and call this table customer states, and we'll go into the SQL Server for fun. Tick that across and we'll check it. Seems fine. Great. Let's run this job again. By the way, you're seeing a lot of additional traced information because I went into jobs, properties, trace, and I turned on some trace workflow. Alright, terminated due to error. Let's find out what the error is. Here's some more debugging to do. The ODBC data source, local error message, SQL Server, single violation of primary key restraint. Cannot insert duplicate key in object, and it goes as much as to tell you what the table is and the duplicate key. Alright, so this is easy enough. This is the table that we're creating in the SQL Server, and the duplicate key is Massachusetts. So apparently there are two customers from Massachusetts. Let me show you how to fix that. So here, there's no way to untick any of these as a primary key. But here, you can say, there we go, that is not a primary key. Just like that. Save that. We'll execute this again. And it completed successfully. Great. Let's look at the data. So here You have all these branches. These are from San Francisco, so I'm guessing they're going to be... Oh, sorry. The sales branch is San Francisco, but each of these customers is in a different state. So as soon as it got to this point and tried to add a second Massachusetts, that's when it threw the error. But now you can see that the VLAN and the description of the region has been knit into the data just as we had planned. Well, great. I'm going to wrap up this video with a very brief explanation of how the SQL Transform works. Let's start a new data flow. That's going to bug me if I don't fix it now. And I'm calling it that because, again, just not feeling very creative today. Let's go to the transforms and just pick the SQL query. And you notice it's got this little square on the side because that's your outbound stream of information, your schema coming out. And we're going to call this SQL customers final, like that. Great. So we bounce in, and I know I said a little earlier that BODS was neat because you can do SQL queries, SQL joins over multiple databases, and that was really neat. But the truth is, when you do a SQL query here, you have to pull from tables in just one database. So we're going to pick Jimbo MDB, that is of type ODBC. Thank you for telling me about that. And we're going to say select star from customers final. And we're going to update the schema. And just like that, this SQL query is ready to go. This is not going to be a very complex query. This isn't meant to be a lesson on SQL. The target audience for these videos is, of course, people who already know SQL. So I just wanted to show you how this works. We can go to the other table, and it switches automatically to type SQL Server. And we can pull this, what is it? Customer state. What did I call that? Table customer states. Just like that. So it's really, really easy. You just tease in your information. You can put in all the SQL code that you want, order by, group by, join, anything that you can do in SQL, you can, in that target database, you can do here in this screen. You just close it. Put another transform after that if you want. Just customer filter. Tease this across, and the input schema is what you get from your SQL query. And you would just tease it across the same way, just like that. And we'll order by, how about street and name in case, and we'll do one descending. There's a quick explanation of how order by works. It's very, very straightforward. Again, is regular SQL, Open SQL, any of the experience that you're going to have in those is going to transfer directly into BODS. And then you would put a target table, finale, and we'll put it in the Access database, just like that. And so here we've just teased information from the SQL database on this local machine through a filter that orders it by street address and then by name in descending order, and then exports it to Microsoft Access. Let's run this and see how much fun this is. So as you can see, the more data flows you add to a job, the longer the data flow gets. And that's to be expected. Great. Oops. Now we can just look right at the code, or at the data, and you can see it is ordered by street. And since these are all unique addresses, it's just ordered by street. Well, let's do a recap. In today's video, we injected SQL code into transforms in order to filter out non-United States regions and then order them, and then we actually had to poke around a little bit in order to make a where clause a step removed from the original extract from the Minisap 620 server. It's a really old server, and the thing really isn't meant for this sort of work, so I don't blame BODS for that. Additionally, we order the states by the name of the state. Later, we used a SQL join to join tables from two different databases in order to enrich customer master data with the names of the states. Finally, we experimented a little bit with the SQL Transform. I know that was brief, but this really isn't meant to be a training on SQL. Once you see that, and you've used SQL a bunch in the past, you'll know exactly how that works. I sure hope that these videos have demystified SAP's BODS product. It's really not as complex as you might think. If you are a programmer and you have a lot of experience in data migration or in programming, then you're really not coming into this at the very beginning. You're not at 0. You're coming in at 90%, maybe 90 more, and you just need a little bit of experimentation with the interface to get up to speed. I will be producing more videos as I have time, because there are a lot more features in BODS that certainly need to be touched upon, but I'm going to take a break for a little while and catch up with a bunch of other things that I've got going on. Again, this is Jim from sapbods.com. Thank you so much for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.